After the success of Deus Ex Human Revolution, Eidos Montreal make their return with the sequel Deus Ex Mankind Divided. The series once again dives into the themes of human augmentation and global conspiracies, but does this installment surpass its predecessor in all aspects?
So sorry.
Very sorry.
Damn it.
Oh, cool. Damn Clank! Why don't you watch where you're going?
Here, let me help you with that, ma'am.
Ma'am? Seriously?
I could have gone with Sweetie.
Taking place 2 years after the events of Human Revolution, biotechnology is being despised by the natural public, and those with augmentations are considered outcasts to society. You play as returning protagonist Adam Jensen, who is working for Task Force 29, an organisation to stop terrorism and make augmented people equal to their natural counterparts. After dealing with a mission that didn't go according to plan in Dubai, Jensen suspects that the Illuminati is behind the outcome and questions whether his own organisation is under their influence. He's also acting as a double agent since Jensen is cooperating with Alex, an agent from the Juggernaut Collective, to assist him on his journey. One of the strengths Mankind Divided delivers is in its world building. While Human Revolution establishes a debate between those who support biotechnology, the sequel illustrates what would happen if human augmentation was considered unethical by the public. Because it takes place 2 years after the quote "org incident," which Hugh Darrow betrayed the world by turning the augmented to go berserk, those who have survived are considered outsiders to society. These range from the likes of discrimination between naturals and orgs, being forced to have legal paperwork to ensure safe passage, and corruption within corporations as they'll do anything to maintain their position. In Deus Ex Mankind Divided, everything about biotechnology is either illegal, as criminals will smuggle for their own gain, or immoral since naturals oppose the augmented, as it could be viewed as not accepting who they are. These themes are enforced by the many NPCs you'll meet throughout the city of Prague, which is the game's hub world, and like Human Revolution, the side missions are enjoyable to do. Whether you're uncovering a murder case or infiltrating a restricted area, these secondary objectives feature their own story, and some further develop over the course of the game. Like its predecessor, Mankind Divided plays similar in terms of gameplay. You have the option to either complete missions with stealth, or you can take a loud and proud approach, in addition of being lethal or non-lethal. Furthermore, your chosen playstyle can be amplified with Jensen's augmentations, which are earned through XP, but unlike Human Revolution, the game also brings in new experimental abilities to expand your options further. The catch is this makes some abilities to become unstable, and therefore the game requires you to manually shut down augmentations you're not using. Initially I thought this would be an interesting mechanic, but over time its novelty wore itself thin as you realise you can fully upgrade Jensen's augmentations within the New Game Plus mode, which allows players to carry over their unlocked abilities into a new save. Mankind Divided also features craftable items to support you, which can range from hacking devices to different ammo types, and speaking of ammo types, you can modify your weapons on the fly. Whether you're an overt or covert Jensen, you'll be using cover and the environment to overcome each situation. The levels have multiple routes to your objective, and some have multiple floors to navigate, but which approach you'll take will depend on your playstyle and whether you're equipped to pull it off. As for the controls, the game offers 4 different presets, but I would recommend the standard option, primarily because it's flexible enough to deal with all situations. While Human Revolution featured the yellow tinted filter for aesthetic reasons, the sequel has it toned down to some extent. Although I didn't have an issue with it as it made its predecessor authentic, I'm guessing this change was done due to some complaints by fans, as well as to maintain continuity to the original Deus Ex title. As for the graphics, Mankind Divided looks good, especially the characters and the environments. Although most of the game takes place in Prague, you'll be traversing other locations such as Golem City, where the augmented are being relegated, escaping a facility in the Swiss Alps, and attending a convention in London. Despite these being only available at certain points in the story, there'll be times where you want to stop and absorb your surroundings. The voice acting is solid for most of the cast, especially when it comes to the side missions as I mentioned before, not to mention the soundtrack is composed once again by Michael McCann, as he does an excellent job to make you feel immersed in this dystopian world. I just wish the main story could have been better, as I found it confusing towards the second half. While the game starts out strong as far as its world building is concerned, it did wear itself thin as there was no sense of danger to Jensen. At one point, he gets ambushed by Viktor Monchenko, the main antagonist, as he injects Jensen with a lethal drug, but somehow he's able to survive and go on his merry way. I'm also disappointed that the conversations where you had to persuade NPCs have also been toned down. In the previous game, you had to choose the correct dialogue option to match the person's personality in addition to what was being said. Despite this, there was a sense of pressure as you know that your actions could raise fatal results. In Mankind Divided, that element has been lost since the game gives you too many hints of what person you're dealing with, and it makes these moments too easy to accomplish. Not to mention, most of them are integrated into the side missions instead of the main story. Granted, there'll be times where Jensen will have to make tough decisions on the spot, but these moments are few and far between, and it doesn't help that the story has much lower stakes than its predecessor. Also, the lip sync animations in-game aren't that great, although addressing this issue for all characters in a game like this would be a tall order. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, one of the best games to come out this console generation, doesn't have the most sophisticated lip sync animations either. The ending was lackluster in my opinion. While not as bad compared to the multiple endings in Human Revolution, which made all of your choices redundant, the climax still lacked impact as it didn't illustrate the consequences on a broader scale, not to mention it just ends abruptly without warning. But the biggest problem is that Eidos Montreal and Square Enix decided to implement microtransactions. Not only it shows one of the common issues in the gaming industry, it also defeats a sense of progression as you unlock new abilities. Not to mention, if you invest into this, you can only use these items once as it doesn't carry over into a new save. While you could say these are only optional, there are people out there who have the pedestal to invest themselves into these dodgy practices, and if we don't put our foot down, this problem will become more problematic in other AAA games. With all that being said, is it still better than the previous game?
No, it wasn't.
Deus Ex Mankind Divided essentially takes one step forward and two steps back. Although the gameplay is improved from the previous game in addition to its great visuals, superb voice acting and immersive soundtrack, but the lackluster story, some design issues and the need to shoehorn in microtransactions make it a step down as far as quality is concerned. Despite the uncertainty of the next episode in the series, I doubt this will be the last we'll see from Adam Jensen. With all of its multiple shortcomings, Deus Ex Mankind Divided is a decent game. Just don't expect Human Revolution 2.0.